React.js is a JavaScript library. We use React.js for building our front end, and Next.js is a framework. We also use Next.js for front end. If we see the difference between Next and React, the main difference between them is React only support client-side rendering. On the other hand, Next support client-side and server-side rendering. If you see SEO friendly, Next.js is far better than React.js. So if we compare them on performance, then Next.js will more good as React.js. And also we can write backend code in a same project on Next.js. This is more proficient for us. So these are the main difference between Next.js and React.js. If we see the main advantages of using server-side rendering for a Next.js project, we can see that it improved the initial load for our site. Then it also improved the SEO, make our site more SEO friendly. Then it help us to load the dynamic data. It also give us built-in support, code splitting. We can easily add the authentication. Totally it improved the user performance. User can give more faster site. So that's why we use the server-side rendering in a Next.js project. In Next.js, SSG mean static site generation. On the other hand, SSR mean server-side rendering. So the main difference between server-side rendering and static site generation are static site generated only on the build time. On the other hand, server-side rendered in every request. So we use server-side rendering on the dynamic site, but we use static site generation for the static site. Server-side rendering is slightly slow than static site generation because it render on every request, but server-side is render only on the build time. For the SEO, both are good, but server-side rendering is good for dynamic site. Redux is a state management library for JavaScript web application. So it helps us to manage all the state globally. Usually we passing data from one component to another component in a JavaScript web application using props. So it create more complexity and also reduce the performance of our application. For solving this problem, we use Redux as a state management. It stores all the data in a central place which is called Redux store. From this store, any other component can access all the data. Redux also have a dev tool which is more useful for us to debug our application. So Redux is more useful, more proficient for large scale web application, but for the small application it's not necessary to use Redux. We know that Redux is a state management library in JavaScript web application. So in Redux, reducer is a pure function. It handle action and state. Like if we take action for any other state, so we pass the action and state through reducer. Inside reducer, the state and action solved, then return a new state for our application.